I actively trade. Many people that run seminars and conferences don't trade. You don't see their name, you don't see their statements because they don't trade. I've done training for about 10, 11 years. I've been in this business now for 23 years. I know what you're going to ask already. I know what mistakes people are going to make. So what I'm trying to do, and what I've always tried to do, is cut that down and say, right, I know what works, what doesn't. Times are bad and all the rest of it. It's nonsense. Yeah? It's either as good or bad as you want to make it. There's always opportunities. And what I see going on right now, especially the last few months, and I think what we're going to see it, there's a transfer of wealth. Okay? A lot of the millions that were made the last few years are very quickly being lost. And some people who were very up there have come down to earth quite quickly. But what that means is there's also opportunities. Because as you'll learn from today, money isn't made or lost, it's transferred. Yeah? And while all the press was going, oh, markets are down and all the rest of it, we were popping the champagne because we were short. Yeah? So remember, there's always somebody on the other side making money of a transaction. There's always a buyer, always a seller. So don't be put off by, is this a good time to start? Is it make these things happen? Those that watch things happen and those that wonder what happened. The last few months, I would say a lot of people are sitting there thinking, what's happened? Or, or why has it happened? Anybody who'd been to this course last year or even the year before would have been ready and would have been knowing exactly what to do, and we saw it coming. We were short on September the 15th and made 2,500 points on the Dow. So, for us, it wasn't a big surprise. I've been bearish on the FTSE 250 for months and months. And the thing about writing stuff and videoing things, talk about evidence, how can I say that I said one thing when I said another when it's all been filmed? So, it's nothing new. And it's some of the simplest things that will make you the most money. And you'll think, Vince, why doesn't everybody do that? And some people are too clever. Do you get what I mean? I've got nothing against people with degrees and all the rest of it, because that's fine. But some of the smart people do very, very stupid things. Or they want to make things really, really complicated when they shouldn't be. And that's why over 95% of professionals can't beat the market. So people that just buy and hold a tracker, an exchange traded fund, do better than 95%, and I reckon it's even more than 95% of the market. This little signpost, lost, confused, what else have we got? Clear, disorientated. You're probably saying, yeah, that's me, I'm all of those. Perplexed. I'll let you into a secret. You're meant to be. Do you understand? It's not meant to be clear. You're meant to lose money. You're not meant to make money in this business. It's for the few, not the many. And then you'll say, well, hold on a minute. How come you're telling me? Well, I've got no agenda to stop you. You've paid me good money to come here. I'll tell you what it is. Notice no banners, no sponsorship here. Come next week, plenty of sponsorship. That's why the tickets are free for some of these seminars. Yeah? And if this was a sponsored day, do you think I could tell you what I'm telling you now? My sponsors would be writing my script, and I would say, many people still think banks are, a service. All right, some of them are turning into government institutions now. They might turn into services. But they're profit-hungry ventures. I went to go and work for an American bank, and this was in the 80s. And the first thing, everybody had to go and see the president. I thought, blimey, I'm going to see the president. I was 18, but didn't realize there's loads of presidents, isn't there? There's vice president. President's like a manager. And I did see the big president because he wanted to see every new dealer that came in. Literally you got 1 minute in the guy's office and it was all wood. And he goes, Vince, why are we here? He goes, we're here to make money. And that's all, he literally said, and it's true, that's all banks are here for. Brokers, banks, spread betting companies, they're all here to make money. How do they make money? By taking our money. Okay, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do different things. So understand, being perplexed, lost, confused, it's part of the business. There are many industries that like confused customers. And as I learned in the last few years when I had a listed company, The amount of money we spent in fees and legal fees and brokers and accountancies, that's why they made more money than anybody else, the advisors, because they make everything so complicated. And you know, initially, being naive, I didn't realise, but of course it's in their interest, isn't it? Why would I bill you £400 for 1 hour when I can bill you $40,000 for 3-4 days? So you've got to realise a lot of industries, it's in their interest to make it as complicated as possible. This is what I found. The longer it takes to make the decision, normally worse the trade. So if you don't see it in a minute or less than a minute that that trade is the right trade to take, then it's possibly not. So if you've got to check all 100 indicators and Mars has got to be opposite to Jupiter and all these things, and you'll see some of these systems on the internet, you know, and you'll think there's so many rules and this line crosses this and that. Oh, please. Chances are, you know, it's just so complicated. So really, I'm going to show you something very, very simple to know whether we should buy something or sell something. The other thing is, I pretty much use the same rules for everything. And that really makes it easy. So whether we're looking at stocks, commodities, currencies, we can pretty much use, don't do what some people have done, is they've gone away with good winning systems, they've made money, and then they think they can advance it or do better, or by trading more, they'll make more money, and then they end up losing it all. So understand, a lot of things you're going to see today, you're going to think are quite simple. You know, if you want to know how to make money, find out what losing traders do and do the opposite. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? And I've told many of you know this story. Years ago, I used to be a broker, and I had a Greek chap, and he was in the plumbing business, but he made quite a lot of money in the plumbing business. And this guy was perfect at calling the tops and the bottoms, but the wrong way round. So he would buy just as the market is going to tank, and he'd basically sell out. You know, when he sold out, I knew we were at the bottom. And it was great, because this was my secret weapon. This was my contraindicator. Whenever this guy came on the phone, you know, I knew. Talk about sentiment. But then he ran out of money. And I thought, oh no, what do I do? He can't trade. Do I give him some money to keep him trading? Or, you know. Anyway, he died off like most clients do. You know, most clients don't last longer than 6 months. But so I always remember that. I thought, if I can find people that are so good at being bad, does it not make sense? Yeah? And to a certain extent, that's what bookmakers learn. You know, years ago, and I talk about IG because I know IG the best, and they're also a public company, and I've got nothing against them. They provide a fantastic service. When the London Stock Exchange went down a couple of months ago, IG was still quoting prices, so you've got to give them respect. But they learnt that you don't make any money trading. They make their money basically by taking the opposite view to the client. And some of you have been told that bookmakers hedge and what have you. Well, they may hedge some of it, but they don't make the profits they do by hedging. They make the profits by running a position against the clients. Because clients are notorious, obviously, for being wrong, and they're also great at getting out too soon. So we'll look at that as well. But we want to look at sentiment to a certain extent. You know, it's like people, if you walk into Vegas in a casino, at one stage, you're probably going to be up. But do you walk out with money? Or do you just give it all back? Or do you just sort of like take some of that profit and say, all right, I came with this amount of money, you know, I'll put that away, and then I'll play with the profit. I'll pay part of the profit. And to me, that's money management, you know, the most basic money management. Because another thing you'll learn about trading, most of our rules came from the casino industry. If you've heard of a book called Thorpe, Beat the Dealer, if you've heard of the Turtles, and people like Russell Sands, who we did a seminar with here one year, who was a backgammon champion. But a lot of the people in trading have got a big background with playing card games of certain sorts, like poker, blackjack, or a science sort of background, mathematical background. And you'll see a lot of the management rules, money management rules, come from a book called Beat the Dealer by, I think, Edward Thorpe. And that was all to do with blackjack. So it's interesting how certain things come from one thing.